Tom MacArthur joins us on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Tom, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Well, listeners have heard your ads a bit, and we'll get to the opposition with Lonergan, but give listeners a sense of Tom MacArthur's background. I know you're a business guy, and you're formerly a mayor, right?
Yes, indeed. I'm a conservative, Dom. I believe in limited government and strong supporter of individual liberties. And I want to take my background, which is different than Steve's, my background in the private sector, and put it to good use in improving our economy. I was in the insurance business for about 30 years and loved it, every minute of it. I started as a $13,000 a year claims adjuster in New York City and had the privilege towards the end of my career of leading a company for 11 years and was able to create thousands of good American jobs. And as you mentioned, I was a mayor and a councilman. Not for that long. My background is really in business, but over 3 years was able to, I think, make some real positive change and deliver conservative results to my town in terms of a low tax per person, reduced operating expenses, AAA bond rating, things that I think things that I certainly think we need in Washington as well.
Now, you've demarcated one area of difference with Steve Lonergan, that you've mainly been in the private sector. He has either been in public office for any number of years or he's run for public office a lot of times that I can remember. Policy-wise, what's the biggest issue between the two of you right now, do you think?
Well, I think there's a few things. One, our records as mayors is totally different. Steve talks about being a conservative, but he delivered anything but conservative results as a mayor. He raised taxes 9 times, increased operating expenses dramatically, 25%. And I think, worst of all, he couldn't balance his budgets. He was bailed out by the state 6 times. 6 times. That's not conservative governance. He was incapable of delivering good results. We also differ on the military. He when he was running against Cory Booker, he called the military massive and bloated and vowed to slash it. I think we need to invest more in our military. And he told Sandy victims to suck it up, which I think is terribly callous of him. I support federal aid to help Ocean County residents rebuild from Sandy. So I think Steve and I are different in a lot of ways. I also think we're very different in tone.
Okay, let's talk about the tone, because as an observer of this, that's where I'm sure there's a difference. And Lonergan, though, does have the support, before we talk about tone, Tom, of a lot of groups that are Tea Party-ish. I know you have the support of the Independence Hall people and some others. Why would a guy that you say has not run or functioned governance-wise as a conservative have that type of support, do you think?
Well, look, he's been around, and he talks a strong line, but words are cheap in my experience. And I'm very proud to have the support of the Independence Hall Tea Party PAC. I know Don Adams is a good friend of you and your show, and he's a good man, a strong conservative, and he is the group that took the time to interview me and hear my position on issues. And I think that's why I have their support. Also have the support and the endorsement of both the Burlington and the Ocean County GOP, the endorsement of over 160 elected officials. And as you mentioned tonight, Congressman John Runyon will be endorsing me. We'll be announcing another major national endorsement later this week. I think it's clear. Steve Lonergan has had his turn. He's been rejected by voters time and again. And in the end, that's the only endorsement that really matters. The voters don't want him. The party organization doesn't want him. The only one who wants him are the Democrats.
Well, let me take you back, Tom. Tom, let me take you back to tone for a moment, too. I'm sorry I skipped over that, because I expect that is a real difference here between the way you see yourself and the way you see Lonergan. So flesh it out a little bit by tone and how you think that plays out in a district like Burlington and Ocean counties.
All right. Well, look, I think what repels voters about Steve is his angry, toxic style. He's callous. I don't think that can win in this district, and I don't think that's what people want. We need people in Washington who can get things done. My life, Dom, has been very different, maybe than his. If I can back up to some personal things that have shaped me, I married my college sweetheart 32 years ago, and our life was thrown upside down a couple of years later when we had our first child, who was very severely handicapped. Mm-hmm. And we found out that in the fourth month. And so you take an issue like that. For me, it's a personal issue. It's not just a political ideology. I'm pro-life, and I chose to have our child, and I've always been grateful to God for that. I adopted my second two children. I've lived in the private sector where you have to get along with people to some degree to get anything done. So I think I've taken my conservative positions and been able to find ways to get things done with people. I think the problem with Steve is he's just angry and caustic all the time and can't work with other people, and we don't need more of that in Washington.
The issue that he's used in his ads, and we played yours too, it's amazing how much in one show we're hearing this, that you favored at one point in time Obamacare, Hillary Care, or something like that, Tom MacArthur. Do you want to repeal Obamacare?
Well, look, one of the most disappointing things to me in this campaign has been that Steve has lied repeatedly about my position on Obamacare. He stood in the same room as me when I vowed to repeal it, and I have never supported Obamacare. I've wandered this district. I've been in meet and greets. I've been at club meetings. I've been in many towns in this district, and I've said the same thing all along, that I will vote to repeal Obamacare. I've also said that we need, and frankly, I've 30 years in the insurance business. I think I have forgotten more about insurance than Steve will ever know, and I have actual views about how to fix it. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to instill tort reform so that the cost of medicine can come down. I think we need to allow health insurance to be sold across state lines so that people have choice and costs can come down. We need to let small businesses pool together. So repealing Obamacare is just a start. But it's been very disappointing to me that Steve has lied continuously. He knows my position. It's on my website. It's on my literature. He's heard it out of my own mouth. But yet he wants to make voters believe something different. And he's done that by taking 6 words out of context and repeating them over and over to mean something very different than they were intended to mean.
All righty, we will have an opportunity with both of you. Thanks for agreeing to be part of this next Wednesday from 10 to 11. Where do people find Tom MacArthur to volunteer, fundraise, support, or learn more about you? What's the best website, Tom?
Well, I appreciate you asking that. It's TMAC for the number 4 Congress, TMAC4Congress.com. And by the way, all of my positions on various issues are there, Don. I'd love for people to get to know me and see that I'm a conservative alternative. We don't have to have the same old for the 6th time from Steve Loning. And there's a conservative alternative that I think people can really get behind, and they are getting behind.
TMAC for the number 4 Congress.com. We will see you, Tom. Thank you very much for coming on today. We'll see you 1 week from tomorrow.
Take care.
All right, there's Tom MacArthur. Now you're